Yes, yeah. Okay. Okay. Right here. At hradiousnow.com and start at 10 a.m. Okay. Can you just go stand where that microphone is?
I absolutely can.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Can you say something?
Yes, Shannon.
If you'll say a few sentences, like the live stream is right.
Sure. This is just a test to conduct with our microphone. Please don't pay attention to what I'm saying. It doesn't matter, but I am trying to allow Shannon to check the levels on our microphone. Shannon, this is enough sentences for you. Great. You're good.
Well, I think he's like,
Yeah.
it's not this hard.
It's 15. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna talk to the executive director of these activities for them to make sure she's. Right on. Oh, yeah.
into it.
We're gonna do so you're live streaming stuff. Do you have to fly? I just have to. Okay, you're welcome. So you're gonna unput 5 and hit your. Yeah. Do you have an H2 or do you have a yeah. Have a dog. It's already on there. So you can use this guy. Great. I know mine might be. I'm not like. Oh, I have a.
Hello, if I could ask everybody to take a seat so we know how many seats we have left. We'd like to get as many people in as we can, and then we'd also like to get started. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming today, and we'll just ask you to be patient with us so we can get as many people in as possible. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. I love it. Just so the audio sounds good. I am not. I'm plugged up. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's gonna remind everyone.
Good morning, everyone. We'll get started shortly. Want to make sure our folks that are recording today are set up and ready to go. And Ricky back there, photographer, you good? Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Hayden Clemens. I'm the Executive Director of the Asheville Downtown Association. Well, it's so good to see y'all. And the weight of that is, I invite everyone to take a brief moment to hold space for ourselves and our neighbors who have been deeply affected. Good. And I want to give a special thanks to the folks here at Mojo Co-working for hosting us in this wonderful space. And a reminder that today's session is being live streamed at 828newsnow.com and will be available on the Asheville Downtown Association website afterwards. And a little bit of housekeeping. Restrooms, a hot topic. They are available. And if you need to use them, please be gentle and also use our newly learned flushing protocols. Okay. With that being said, we do have a special guest today. Councilwoman Ullman is here, and she's going to share a few words.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to be really quick. And I'm going to encourage everybody to check in with yourselves when you need to. It's really hard. I think a lot of us are having a hard time. I think personally I'm oscillating between just numb, shock, despair, sad. I'm going to talk about things I'm feeling really pumped about right now. Because all the guidance we're getting from experts in crisis tell us to look for those wins and really celebrate them. And so when I share this, it's not because I'm overlooking how traumatic everything is and how desperate I feel and we all feel. It's because people who've done this before are coaching us leaders to be celebratory when we can. So absorb what you can, and if you're not there, I totally get it too. So the first thing, we have connected the bypass line to the water distribution center at 1 a.m. this morning. Woo! We still have a lot of other things to do, but that is literally the first step. That's the first place for the water to leave our facility. This is nothing short of monumental, what has been done. What has been done would have taken 2 years of engineering in normal government world. We're a little slow, but still, it's really fantastic. So that is our commitment, our showing you like people are working literally 24 hours a day to get us water back to you all. The next thing I want to talk about is I talked to our building inspections this morning, and I have just a little bit of updates, and there's kind of 3 groups. So I have 3 different types of us. There's folks who really are experiencing the water crisis, right? Your property is okay, your business is okay, you just don't have water. You might be retail, you might be restaurant, you weren't necessarily flooded or damaged. For those folks, getting water back to you is number one, and we want to get you operational as soon as possible. So if you're in that kind of camp, the things that you need to be thinking about before you could consider reopening are, have you given reasonable consideration to your staff so that they have humane ways to use the restroom and washing stations? That might look like pooling with your neighbors and getting a porta potty for 5 businesses on a block. I'm not sure what else it looks like, but reasonable consideration. You all care about your people, so we need to know that you're doing that. We also aren't walking around to try and ding you and enforce, right? So that's one step that we want you to really think about before you can get yourselves open again, if you're in that no damage but no water. If you did have damage, if you're experiencing major flood damage or other stuff from the actual storm or the flooding, we have emergency permits available with no fees. The first thing is we need you to remove your damage. So if you're looking at like removing and replacing stuff, as long as it is a substantial improvement, which is, I can't define further, but the building inspectors could, and I can get you to the top of that line, you can get emergency permits immediately for trades, electrical, etc. Then the third camp is, I'd say, like your people, and you probably live somewhere. So what is your home situation? If you're needing electrical support to get electricity back into your home, there's on-call support for a building department to work with Duke to get on demand. So those are 3 ways that we're moving at a Herculean speed for slow government to get everyone operational as soon as possible. I'm going to leave a stack of my cards. I don't know that I can solve your problem, but I can help get your email to the right people, and I can connect you a lot quicker if you're getting slow response from the city side of things. I also am just plugged into Duke and the power and a lot of different things. So right now, any elected that you have a relationship with, we can connect you very quickly. So please reach out to us because that's a big role we're doing. The last thing I'd say is me and several electeds are amassing a daily update with everything we can come up with. So if you email me, you'll automatically be on that daily update. It has everything from like, where do I get my dog to a vet, to where do I take my laundry, stuff like that. And we're continuing to produce that. So those are some wins. There are a lot of losses right now, and I feel that deeply, and I could cry at any moment. I bet a lot of you could too. But when we're together, I encourage us all to lean into what everyone who's done this before says is like, give your space, your time when you need to wring out your sponge, but surround yourself to find the joy spots, because that's how you get through stuff like this. And we're going to do it together. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. I want to thank our partner organizations who have come together today. This was my first slide. Who have come together today to make this session possible. And they are all out there in our community working tirelessly to make sure each of you have support and are taken care of during this time. Go Local, Asheville Downtown Association, Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce, Asheville Brewers Alliance, Hotel Association, Pride, Explore Asheville. Now, we're going to talk about some pretty broad support today, but each of these organizations is working and has a lot of information about their particular industry. So if you're an artist or a musician, Arts ABL has a lot of resources. Explore Asheville has a lot of resources for our tourism partners. So be sure you're keeping in touch with these organizations that are here to support you guys. And there's going to be, more nuanced information coming out from those partners. As you all know, downtown Asheville is the economic engine of Western North Carolina. And while we are spared from much of the physical destruction, the work ahead of us is ensuring our businesses remain in Asheville, are resilient, and set the stage for our region to begin the rebuilding process. Today, we have a great group of speakers to provide guidance and financial resources from the SBA and FEMA, Mountain BizWorks, the Community Betterment Foundation, the Always Asheville Fund, and McGuire Wooden Visit. I also want to note that the tables in the back will have representatives from these organizations to chat with you. but also JD Ellison and Company, who has compiled an extensive list of more than 80 professionals that are offering their services pro bono to organizations who are impacted by the hurricane. You'll also find the folks from All Souls Counseling, who offer discounted and free mental health services in our community, and they're around here somewhere. Today's presentation will be in a TEDx format, with each of the speakers giving a brief overview of their services and what they're offering to the small business community, and then turning it directly over to the next speaker. With that, I'd like to welcome Becca Wallace from Mountain BizWorks to kick us off, and I'll just take a moment to get connected to her computer.
That moment when you hope you remember your updated password.
You did it.
Well, before I jump into talking about resources, I just want to say personally, as someone whose background is in entrepreneurship, this might get an emotional moment. This is the most business owners I've seen in one place in a long time. And we serve all of Western North Carolina, and I think I'm just very glad to see you face to face. We're thinking about you. I know I live in Pisgah Forest, and some of the businesses in Brevard are open. It's kind of a strange emotion to go and try to shop local with them as they roll out holiday guides, and then drive into the office and see the state of businesses here. So I just want to kind of share on behalf of Mountain BizWorks. While we're in a lot of the details right now, I know our team is really committed to loving businesses, and that's why we're here. So I just want to share that heart piece. I'm finding myself that as I'm talking to business owners, it's really difficult to think about details right now, because you're thinking about your home, your staff, the people from afar. It's just a lot to keep up with. So while I'm talking today about our loan fund that recently rolled out, I guess on Monday, we've had an overwhelming response from across the region. Within the first day, we saw responses from 11 counties. And I think it's really important for us to share the word with folks that don't have access to technology, that resources are becoming available. I've personally been really encouraged and very convicted over the last week, and spent a lot of time thinking this weekend about long-term resources are so important, but immediate resources are needed. And so I'm really happy to share there's a lot of active conversations going on right now about additional funding streams like grants. And I was so happy to have a conversation with the team at the Chamber and explore Asheville and talk about the Always Asheville Fund. So I think there's going to be, multiple layers of recovery funds needed. And so, this is one opportunity. It's going to be a long, immediate, mid, multi-year regional approach to business. So I don't know if that feels overwhelming to you or encouraging. I think from the side of someone who's connecting with regional and national funders, I will tell you, I've been on 8 to 12 calls a day with funders across the US who are wanting to mobilize. And I want to capture that on behalf of all these business owners that I'm seeing face to face today. So that's not the formal part of the presentation, but that's just, I think, my heart and where we're coming from. If you have folks that are looking to plug in and love small businesses, please direct them to me. I'll be at the table, and we're here to be a resource, but my role at Mountain BizWorks is the community investments manager, is fundraising. So I want to mobilize people so we can do more immediate, midterm, long-term. So with that, the official business at hand. So on Monday, in partnership with the Golden Leaf Foundation, we launched the WNC Strong Lean Business Recovery Fund. And what this tool is it's bridge loans for 1 year with 1% interest, and then rolling into a longer term loan, ideally being able to pay that back with insurance funds and other resources that you've gotten, but intended to kind of fill that gap. And so we're here to help folks think about that right now, and then think about future. And I know the SBA is going to share here some of the offerings they have. So just to give you insight into some of what that looks like, through that partnership with Golden Leaf and other funders, as you can see, It's currently available for for-profit businesses. I saw that Dogwood did a major announcement about supporting nonprofits. That was really encouraging for me to see. And then I'll just let you read a little bit more about the eligibility there. We did expand our footprint. Usually we serve just the 26 counties in Western North Carolina, and we were able to expand the footprint for this to any disaster declared area. So that is further out into some of these mountain towns. We're looking to do loans for folks with fewer than 100 employees and obviously impacted by the storm. A little bit about the loan terms, as I mentioned, up to $100,000. And for the first year, it is going to be 1% in the interest-only payments, with the hope then that folks can roll into a more sustainable either term loan or another refinance with SBA, which I believe will be at 4%. So a little bit of details about that. It's a personal guarantee secured by your business assets. There's no minimum credit score to apply and have a conversation with our team. I've been actively hearing conversations with our teammates about, we don't want to pull credit scores if we don't need to, but if there is opportunity, target is really underserved. Rural communities, women, BIPOC folks don't have access to traditional financial resources. So I would ask that you not put that barrier. If you feel like there's still an opportunity for a conversation, please do come see us. And then I do also want to share that I don't have the page link, but there is a resource page on our website that's being updated daily. Many of the resources that you've all sent us, that Councilman Allman has sent us, we're trying to aggregate those for folks, as we know people are coming looking for active landing pages. All resources are available in English and Spanish. So everything on the site, there's a landing page, there's an application in Spanish. We have several team members who are bilingual, so you can have a conversation about financial needs, but even what I feel is more of like a grief counseling perspective, business owner to business owner. You just need to say, SOS help, I don't know where to go. So we have open office hours at Mount BizWorks on Lexington. We're open there Monday through Thursday from 10 to 2, so you can come in. We're also set up at the chamber Monday through Thursday, and I don't know the exact hours there, but I know it's on their website. So if in-person feels more warm and comfortable to you, we're available for that. I'm trying to equip and mobilize more of our coaching network to be available for things like manning those stations long-term, but also insurance help, navigation of financial documents. What do I do if my financial documents got ruined? Or maybe real talk, I'm a business owner, I'm a little behind on being organized, because that's just how it is. So I know that's been my experience, but here's the landing page. This is the email, wncstrong@mountbizworks.org. And like I mentioned, everything is available in English and Spanish. I'm going to be hanging out here, and my colleague's going to be bringing some resources over. But if nothing else, I guess I would just really like to communicate that as I'm talking to these funders, I'm thinking of your faces, and I'm dedicated to get more immediate relief funds with our partners into the community. So I just want to say that as accountability mark, and just trying to, think of each of you and capture you in my mind as I talk to those funders. So I'll be here, and thank you so much for having us, Hayden. Thank you for creating space for this. It's really important. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Becca. Next, I'm going to invite up Vic Isley from Explore Asheville while I get connected.
Good morning, everybody. Let's try that one more. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is so good to see so many familiar faces. I just have to say, not prepared remarks, and forgive me if this offends anyone, but the last week felt like, oh, fuck. And this week, starting with the meeting of the Asheville Independent Restaurant Association members, which was over 100 folks in a room at 12 Bones, it was like, let's fucking go. So good morning. Like the rest of this community, Explore Asheville and the Tourism Development Authority has been heartbroken by the devastating personal, natural, and economic loss from Helene, that name, that our region has endured over the last 2 weeks. And We are heartened by the gumption, the grit, and sense of community of this place and people. We're keeping the Appalachian community top of mind and in our hearts in the wake of this tragedy. And I believe in the power of travel, and I believe in the power of face-to-face meetings, so it's really great to be here amongst you all. So communities all across Western North Carolina, including ours, are beginning to recover after the devastating wind, floods, and aftermath of Hurricane Helene. In the early hours following the storm, Explore Asheville we took stock of our families, our neighbors, and checked in on the well-being of our team. By Saturday afternoon, September 28th, we had ceased all paid advertising and promotion. We think that's important to share for all of you. Our priority over the last 2 weeks has been and continues to be to care for our residents, workers, and to support the first responders locally and those who have answered the call from all over the country, helping those impacted and addressing the economic and emotional toll at hand. Through this tragedy, the heart of hospitality has been a beacon of light. Restaurant owners cleared out their walk-in refrigerators and cooked off free meals for thousands of residents and first responders. Hotel operators and owners without power, water, and very few staff opened rooms for first responders working 24 to 48-hour shifts. Pools were drained to flush water to maintain operations as best they could. And in just the last week, we worked together with the Hotel Association and many others to solve for sourcing for clean linens for rooms, to change over the rooms for first responders to be able to lay their heads down. Porta potties, and you can see around town now water tanker trucks that are servicing those hotels and lodgings that are working on maintaining operations to house even more emergency responders. I think we're all here together in this room, and we're grateful to be a partner here. We all have a role to play, and together we will provide for our community. And together, we're charting a pathway forward. Amid that heartache, there are also rays of light. Just this morning, tickets went on sale for a concert for Carolina, featuring Luke Combs, Eric Church, Billy Strings, James Taylor, and many more friends. We stepped up to pledge to be $1 million sponsor for that concert. 100% of those dollars from our marketing budget are coming right back to this community and nonprofits to help feed our community. We've been humbled and uplifted by the outpouring of care and concern from our fellow destinations across the country and travel and hospitality partners. Many of them have faced crisis before, and they've pledged their support to our community. We were so heartened by that support that Explore Asheville, which is our 501c6 nonprofit, established the Always Asheville Fund to help our small, independent travel and hospitality businesses across the county to recover from the devastating impacts and the aftermath. Assisting our small businesses with emergency micro grants, not loans, will aid in part to sustain this deeply rooted creative community from our earned revenue fund. We seeded that fund with $300,000 that is not occupancy tax dollars, so it's unrestricted. And I'm proud to tell you and humbled to tell you this morning that that fund is now at $500,000 thanks to a commitment from Biltmore. Our team has experience in working with grants in this community. Over the last 20 years, we've really committed nearly $100 million to 50 different community projects. And we also ran tourism jobs recovery fund efforts following the pandemic. So we're going to be working on this very quickly to make sure that money gets out in our community and into our local small businesses so that we have that fabric here. Much like we did during the pandemic, we're gathering ways that people from outside of Asheville can purchase art and items online to sustain local businesses.
This storm really couldn't have come at a worse time for our businesses, and I don't have to tell you all in this room that. Peak October revenues carry many of our businesses and therefore our residents through to spring. Travel and hospitality generates $3 billion locally for our businesses and a wide variety of businesses making up 20% of our county's annual economy. So to that end, I'm hoping I have that page. There are many partners that are working on loving Asheville from afar. So the Asheville Downtown Association, Go Local, the Chamber of Commerce, AIR, Made by Mountain, Mountain BizWorks, and JD Ellison and Company are working throughout our community to gather those opportunities where people can shop online, provide information for local products and online stores, to be able to purchase gift cards and make direct donations, which many of business owners have already set up. So we have a partner alert going out. You can also scan this QR code if you'd like to participate in that effort with us. Now, we are seeing progress, slow as it may be. And we had some really great news delivered by Maggie this morning. But while travel may not be possible at the moment, we are asking people to keep Asheville in their hearts through programs like this, the Always Asheville Fund and the Love Asheville from Afar Fund. But when the timing is right, we're going to be ready to welcome folks back to our community as we begin to rebuild. Our comeback is going to come in stages and pockets, when and where it is safe to do so. I don't know if any of you made it to Mother AVL yesterday when they reopened, but there are several hundred people out there having a good time seeing each other face to face. So we want to have that and have that soon. You know, in the last 12 days, you know, grown men have broken down in tears from exhaustion, grief, and the gravity of it all, and I have too. And we are witnessing the gumption, the grit, and determination of this deeply rooted community, and we're seeing that here this morning. And our team at Explore Asheville and Tourism Development Authority are here for it. We're here with you.
Thank you, Vic. And while the slide is up here, just want to let you know this QR code will direct you to the Love Asheville from Afar partner sign up. So if you want to take a moment and scan that QR code to make sure you fill out the Google form, you'll need to be logged into Google. Fill out that Google form and get yourself signed up for that so they can begin to populate that website with folks who have e-commerce. Those who don't have e-commerce, we can work with JD Ellison to try and get you set up with something. And then also, you know, any GoFundMe pages or products that you want to advertise there. So please take a moment to get signed up there. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Sabrina at McGuire Wood and Bissett.
Good morning. I'm Sabrina Rockoff. I'm the president of McGuire Wood and Bissett Law Firm here in Asheville. And I am like you, I'm a small business owner. And we are facing how to bring staff back without water and what to do so that we can keep serving this community. We've served this community for 130 years, and we certainly don't plan to stop. But we know, I see a lot of clients in the audience, I see a lot of people I know in the audience, and we know that we need this community to thrive for our business as well as for yours. I was asked today, Pisgah Legal actually reached out to me and said they were looking for an employment lawyer, so to come and talk. So I went through and looked at, you know, some of the questions I'm getting from folks. And so I'm just going to try to answer some questions that I can answer. I feel like for everybody, one of the issues with the law is often, well, it depends is the answer, right? Based on your circumstances. But I'm going to try to give you information that I feel like will apply to everybody. And then I have Beth Lane, one of our corporate attorneys, and Murphy Fletcher, also an employment lawyer, with me today. And, you know, afterwards, if people want to come up and talk with us, we're happy to talk to you about your specific situation. The first thing I'm getting a lot of questions about is unemployment. you need your staff to apply for state and disaster unemployment at the same time. You can do that on the DES website. There are instructions on how to do that. Your staff has 60 days to apply for unemployment from the day of the disaster declaration, which was October 1. So to take advantage of the disaster unemployment, they have to apply by December 2nd. And that's important for you to understand, because I'm talking to a lot of business owners who are trying to figure out how long they can hold out. And so I want you to know that deadline, because that's really important for your staff. If the unemployment is due to a disaster, your unemployment account will not be charged when your staff apply for unemployment, if the layoff or the unemployment is due to a disaster. However, if your staff qualify for state unemployment benefits, their state unemployment benefits must be exhausted before the disaster unemployment benefits start. So they apply for both at the same time, but they're going to exhaust state unemployment before disaster unemployment starts. There are some people who may qualify for disaster unemployment who do not qualify for state unemployment, but you still apply at the same place on DES and it will direct you. There's no waiting period for unemployment when we're in a natural disaster. There's typically a 1-week waiting period. There's no waiting period for people for unemployment if they apply for both at the same time. Okay, so that they indicate the unemployment is a result of the disaster. If they are unemployed due to a disaster, they still have to make a weekly certification with unemployment saying that they are unemployed, and they have to report any income they receive during that week, but they do not have to be searching for another job. I've gotten a lot of questions about furloughing employees. So back during COVID, the state passed an exception to the unemployment law that applied during COVID that allowed you to furlough employees, which means they stay attached to your payroll, but they could apply for unemployment benefits without you being penalized for that. That is not in place right now, folks. That was a COVID-only thing. I was hoping we would see it in the bill that was passed yesterday. We didn't. So if you want to do an attached payroll, you may have to pay the state up front for the cost of that attached payroll. So please be aware of that. That has not changed. Some other questions I'm getting a lot about are GoFundMe sites. If you have a GoFundMe site for your staff and they are not working and you give them money from that GoFundMe site, that is likely a gift to them for tax purposes. However, the way you distribute that money can open you up to discrimination claims. So you need to be thoughtful if you are doing that about how to distribute that money in a way that is equitable. But, you know, for me, I also think about, well, but what about the people who need it more than others, and how do you make those determinations? If you are collecting tips and calling them tips, like if you're serving free food and collecting tips, first of all, the health department says you shouldn't be doing that, because then you're actually collecting money for food, so don't be doing that. But if you are calling something tips, tips are income. So just be very thoughtful about how you're doing that if you're a restaurant. If you are facing a situation where you have a benefit plan like health insurance, I've had some people ask me, well, can we just reduce our benefits? In North Carolina, you cannot stop a health insurance plan without giving 45 days written notice to the participants in the plan. If you are laying off employees, that means that while no one in this room has, if this is a small business, has enough employees, you have to worry about giving any kind of warn notice. You can't just stop their benefit plan. Okay, so just be aware of that, 45 days. People have asked me about giving people written notice if they're having to do layoffs. That is helpful for them when they apply for unemployment to show the reason. So I usually am not a big fan of written notice termination, but this is a situation where you probably want to do that. And finally, if you are reducing people's pay in North Carolina, you have to give them a pay period's written notice before you can reduce their pay. If you are reducing pay, be mindful of whether you are reducing your salaried employees below the threshold so that they may need to become hourly. And I don't want to turn this into an employment seminar, so I'm going to stop there. But if you have questions about that, come up and see us. I told Vic, grit is one of my favorite words. I love the grit in this community. It's one of the reasons I'm here. I applaud you all for being here, given all the things. It's like every normal thing is 100 times harder right now. And I applaud you all for being here, and I am certain together we will get through this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sabrina and McGuire Wood and Bissett. And I get settled here to bring Casey Gilbert from the Chamber of Commerce up. I think our streaming is sucking up all our internet. Good morning, everyone. I'm Casey Gilbert, Vice President of Public Policy here at the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to echo everyone who spoke before me and just say, I'm so glad to be here this morning. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here. I know there's probably so much running through your mind and on your heart this morning, as it is for me. So I just want to thank you all for your presence. Just seeing you all here is buoying me this week. In my role at the Chamber as the Vice President of Public Policy, I've spent much of the last week and a half reaching out to state and federal elected officials to let them know what's going on here, what we need from them, and how they can support us as they are passing legislation. And so I just want to let you know that whether or not you're a Chamber member, we are representing this area's interests, and we have you all in mind when we are speaking with our elected officials, both near and far. And today I just kind of want to give a little perspective on where the Chamber has been in all of this. Immediately what we did was we realized that our building, our physical building on Montfort Avenue could serve as a little bit of a community gathering space because our Wi-Fi was projecting outside of the building. And we also had installed all these electrical outlets for our 125th anniversary event. So we immediately went around the building and unlocked all of our electrical outlets. We let people charge their phones because, as you know, in early days, it was like, where am I going to charge my phone? How am I going to get information? How am I going to call my family? All of these things. And so we had people gathered around our building, charging their phones and using our internet. And it was a community gathering space for the people to exchange information. And we also almost immediately got porta potties. So if you are looking for a place to go, we've got porta potties at the Chamber. And so first and foremost, it was like, what are the immediate needs of our community? And then we pivoted to how do we need to show up for this community moving forward? As you know, we have you may or may not know, we have the Visitors Center on site at the Chamber of Commerce, and we knew we needed a big pivot. And so what you see on the screen today is our big pivot. We turned the physical building of the Chamber of Commerce into a business recovery center. We are happy to host the SBA. So if you want to meet
one-on-one with a representative from the SBA, you can come to the Chamber of Commerce. The hours are posted up here, 9 to 6, Monday to Friday, Saturday 9 to 3. You can sit down and they can walk you through the application process and everything that you need to know. And Liliana, the public affairs specialist, was supposed to be with us this morning, and she had an emergency. And so please give me some grace as I'm going to be wearing 2 hats this morning, speaking to you, both on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and then also letting you know the SBA is here for you. And you can go through the process with the SBA, and it does not mean at the end of it that you have to take a loan. They just want to walk you through your options. And so a lot of this can be really challenging to navigate online by yourself. So please use this resource. And while you're there, we have tables set up. So if you just need a place to sit down, either with yourself and your laptop and do a little bit of business, or you need to have a business meeting, come on over. Longer term, we are trying to negotiate for some space in our building so that we can act as an incubator and have some more space for businesses to set up. And again, I want to reiterate, whether or not you are a chamber member, you are welcome in our building, you are welcome in the Business Recovery Center, and you are all a part of the chamber right now. So I just want to let you all know that and extend that right hand of fellowship in this really trying time. In addition to the Small Business Administration, we are also proud to have Mountain BizWorks set up under our roof at the Chamber of Commerce. There's someone there. Also from the SBTDC. The SBTDC is a business advisory service associated with the UNC system, and they will help you with technical support for business recovery planning. And we also have Colton Brewing Financial to answer some of those tough questions for you as well. Just looking over my notes here, I want to make sure I've covered everything. Yes, so in addition to the Chamber becoming a business recovery center and resource center, again, please come get the help you need, sit down with somebody one-on-one, make access to all these resources. The second thing we did, and you've heard this from Vic and others, loans are not going to do it all. There's a 3-legged stool. We need grants, and I'm so happy to hear that Explore Asheville has stepped up. I know Arts AVL was recently in Chicago getting money for our arts community, and we established the Mountain Strong Business Recovery Fund. So we are currently working on guidelines for this. It will also be similar to what Vic mentioned, micro grants for small businesses. We are working on guidelines. We're working on fundraising. We want to be very mindful that these funds go to the people who need it most. And so just want to let you know as that unfolds, we will share more information as it's available. But we're very much in the fundraising phase and developing guidelines, but we know that you need money in addition to loans. So that is on our hearts and minds, and we're working on this grant fund. So we are already raising money, but we need more. And I think the last thing I'll say today, oh, and just for the SBA real quick, the 3 loans that they offer are home disaster loans, business physical disaster loans, and EIDL, economic injury disaster loans. I'm not an SBA expert. That'll be my disclaimer. So please come by and talk to someone that they can help you with all of this. And the last thing I'll say today, just to wrap, vote, vote, vote. Go to Buncombe County, vote, vote, vote. Voting is open. Early voting is happening. If you have been displaced and you need an absentee ballot, you can go to the county's website and get information on early voting locations. But please cast your vote, help each other, let us know how we can be of help. And thank you again for hosting us today. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Small businesses are the backbone of our community. And more than 80% of chamber members have small businesses defined as 20 employees or less. So you are us, we are you. Thank you. Please use us as a resource.
Thank you, Casey. And unfortunately, Ileana is also our FEMA representative. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update kind of on where to go first and then kind of work yourself through the process. So we encourage everyone to visit disasterassistance.gov. That's where you'll find the most information from FEMA, the disaster assistance for individuals and businesses, grants for temporary housing, home repairs, and low-cost loans. So I have a little bit of a cheat sheet here that kind of walks you through each of your options. So starting first with FEMA and disasterassistant.gov, then make your way to Small Business Administration. The website is very kind of clearly, it really is kind of easy to navigate, but if you want someone to help you do that, then you would make your way over to the Chamber of Commerce. Next is going to be Mountain BizWorks, of course, and then the Explore Asheville and Chamber of Commerce funds. I'm going to turn it over to Sherry Lucas at Go Local, but we made a little bit of a cheat sheet here that will be posted on AshevilleDowntown.com as well, or .org as well. And I encourage you all to pick up one of these on your way out.
Thank you, Hayden. Thanks everyone for coming today. I'm just going to start with a couple of big thank yous. First to our speakers who on very short notice. This was put together in about 2 days. And on short notice, they were able to clear your schedules for you for our small, local, mini independent businesses of Asheville. So thank you, Becca and Vic and Sabrina, Hayden, Casey. Sorry about SBA and FEMA. I think we are showing people a lot of grace these days on emergencies that come up. And they are at the chamber. They're set up at the chamber, which is at 36 Montford Avenue. I'd like to thank Mojo Co-working. Blair, thank you so much. I picked up the phone. We need an event space. And he was so gracious and immediately said yes. I apologize to the people who didn't realize you had to register today. That was our fault. We take total responsibility for not making that priority message on everything we sent out. I'm so thankful that you were able, the people who were able to wait, was able to get a seat. So again, apologies and thank you for your patience. I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Asheville Media Group, who also came together and just, it's not, I don't know, it's not, well, let me see, it was, yes, we're here, how can we help? And they're live streaming, and for all of those of you out there who are watching on live stream, our hearts are with you too. Thank you for being out there. It was being live streamed on 828 News Now, again, part of the Asheville Media Group. So thankful for them. And obviously, thanks to all of you that make up the culture in our community. We're so grateful for you, so thank you. So what we're going to do, we've set up tables around so you could do one-on-ones. We know there's probably as many of you are here or as many questions as you have. And instead of trying to do a Q&A, which would probably take a very long time, we're going to be around the room. And I'd like to thank Jefferson back there. Jefferson, if you want to raise your hand. Jefferson is with AB. Company who has information of all our amazing creative services community who are volunteering, web graphics. He'll be able to tell you and direct you and talk with you about how to get access and where those resources are. Also, Souls Counseling. Do I see somebody with All Souls? They are set up. Oh, great, thank you. All Souls will be set up there. They're a counseling group who offer discounted and free mental health services in our community. I think we can all agree we all need a little bit of mental health support these days, and that there is no shame in that. So please go back and talk with them as well. We have Explore Asheville back in the corner. That's Mackenzie back in the corner. If you have any questions with anything that Vic talked about, Vic had put up a QR code. I'm sure Mackenzie has access to that if you weren't able to pick it up at the time. Mountain BizWorks is over here. Becca will be over there at Mountain BizWorks table if you had any additional questions for Mountain BizWorks. Pardon me? Oh, great, Sabrina, you're going to be awesome. I'm glad you're able to sit. So Sabrina will be there also for taking your questions in one-on-one about specific things that you're dealing with or need a little bit of additional legal support on. Go local, I'll be set up over in the seating area just to talk with people and learning more about what your needs are. We do plan to do a series of info sessions, and we really want to hear what you'd like to hear more of or what you're going to need to get your businesses started. And the same with Hayden. Hayden also with the Downtown Association. He did an awesome job. Thank you for everything you've done. We have Rick Bell from the Hotel Association this year, the Asheville Downtown Hotel Association. We have Megan Rogers here from AIR, Asheville Independent Restaurants. A lot of our collaborators and partners that all came together to make this happen. So we'll go ahead and end this and let you guys decide if you want to stay or if you'd like to talk to people. Russ, do you have a question?
I had to share for the group.
Great, please.
Yeah. My name's Russ Towers. I am second year. And second year, like a lot of you in the business in the room might have an idle COVID loan from a few years ago. And something I learned last week, because I was like, oh shit, how am I going to pay my loan if I don't have a business right now? So some of you might have learned this, some of you not. I contacted SBA. There is what's called a hardship application where you can significantly reduce your idle loan payments down to 10% of your minimum payment. And that goes on for 2 6-month periods. And then it increases to, I think, 40% and 75%. So for several years, you can reduce that down significantly if you need to. So if you have a loan, you have an SBA portal, go to your portal. You have to email them to ask for the application. I have the application now. I've got to get it signed by some other owners, but there is help there if you have an existing loan that you need to put the brakes on. So wanted to share that.
Thank you, Russ. That was really important information to share. Thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and end this part, the presentation part, and hopefully you'll stay around and talk to the different people that are here to support you. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for all of those who are watching live stream. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.